Okay, so we're going to create a file called tables and forms so that we can experiment with something called tables and forms. So I've clicked, I'm working in Dreamweaver because then we can actually see what we're doing as we work. I'm clicking on project 3. I'm going to go to the options up here, file. It doesn't show you, but it shows me file, new file. And I'm going to call it tables and forms. .html. Double clicking on it. Okay. So there's some information that's missing here. So I'm going to go back to Gropius 2.8 and open that up. And I'm going to copy this whole section at the top. All the way down to box sizing border box. Go back to tables and forms. I'm going to select everything from title up and paste this in. The title is going to change to tables and forms. And in coding tables and forms. Okay. One other thing. You're going to need to duplicate normalize.css from the CSS up here in project 2 and copy it into the CSS folder down here so that normalize is available. It's giving me an error, so I'm just going to delete that line. Oh, right, got it. Yeah, so I have style here. I need to close the style down here. And this is our basic file. HTML language equals English US, meta character set UTF-8. We've got a title, we've got the viewport, we've got the description, we have a link to normalize.css. And we've got box sizing border box to simplify the box model for our design. And then I'm going to add the following structure. And then I'm going to add table. Form. And that's where we'll put the CSS in for the structure of the table and the form as we go on. Next, we're just going to build a really simple structure. So structure, go down to body. div ID equals wrap. Then I'm going to create a section. ID equals table. Section. Section. ID equals form. And then we're going to close the div. And notate it to make it easier to understand what we're dealing with. So we have a very simple, at this point, a very simple structure. And then under structure, I'm going to tell it that wrap width equals let's see. I'm going to try 800 pixels and see if that works. That's not right. Sorry. Width 800 pixels. Sorry, just not right. Okay, 100% and max width. Actually, I'm going to make it 1,000 pixels. And if I change my mind, I can go back and change that at any point. Okay, then I'm going to tell the table section is background color. And I'm just going to pick a color, CCC for F7. And then padding to move the table in away from the outside. And at the moment, I'm going to make it 20 pixels, 40 pixels, 60 pixels, and 40 pixels. And then for copy and paste for the form, background color is going to be beige. Hopefully I've spelled that right. And we'll use the same padding there. And you can see that now we have the table and the form. And one other thing I want to add in here is I'm going to add an H1, and call it tables and forms. Be sure to close it. Okay. And then I'm going to get a little bit fancy. Let's actually add. Right now, you can see that this H1 is right up against the edge of the page. So H1 margin. Okay. I've got 40 pixels up here, so I'm going to give it a margin of 40 pixels. I'm going to give it a margin of 0 and 40 pixels. And in fact, let's see. Let's just make it 40 pixels all the way around. And finally, inside here, let's start off by just adding an H2 for the table. And H2 form. And that's our page, the basic page that we're going to start with. Okay. And I'm going to save that. And that's what we have.